Welcome to the Bodhi Academy. My name is Shrutika and today let us continue with our chapter 7, that is transportation in plants and animals, and this is the part 2 of the chapter. So in our yesterday's video we have learned how to we have seen what is how transportation takes place in human beings. That is, we have covered in our part 1 we have covered the main component of the circulatory system, that is the blood, and the components of blood. So today what we will study is the second part, that is the blood vessels and the organ which is responsible for the circulation, that is heart. So let us start with the blood vessels. So what are blood vessels? So blood vessels, so yesterday we have studied what is blood, what the blood consists of, which are the components of blood. So today let us see how this blood flows in our body. So the blood flows in our body through vessels, and those vessels are called as the blood vessels. So these are the tubes or pipes that carries blood through the body. It runs between the heart and the rest of the body, and this there are three major types of blood vessels. So in our body, blood vessels. So blood vessels helps in transportation of the bloods from different parts of our body to the heart, and from the heart to different parts of our body. So how is this happening, that we will study in our this video today. But first let us see which are the types of vessels in our body. So there are three main types of vessels in our body. The first type of vessel is called as the arteries, then comes the veins and the capillaries. So these are the three main types of blood vessels in our body, and blood vessels are responsible for what? They are the pipeline, they are the pipes or tubes which carries the blood throughout the body. So these are the three types of vessels which will help in doing this process, that is arteries, veins and capillaries. So now let us learn each of this in detail. So first let us see what is artery and how it does the function. So arteries carry blood. So arteries carry blood from the heart to all parts of the body. Arteries have thick elastic wall as blood flows at a high pressure due to pumping action from the heart to the arteries. There are no valves present in the arteries, and the main artery, that is aorta, is connected to the left ventricle of the heart, and it carries oxygenated blood from the left ventricle to all parts of the body except the lungs. Another artery called a pulmonary artery is connected to the right ventricle of the heart and carries deoxygenated blood from the right ventricle to the lungs. So all the arteries are majorly helping in supplying what? So arteries help in supplying oxygenated blood. Okay, only pulmonary artery will carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and all other arteries supply oxygenated blood to all the parts of the body, from the heart to the other parts of the body, and only pulmonary artery will carry deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Okay, so that from over there it's converted into oxygenated blood. So this is how arteries function. Now let us see what are veins. So veins are blood vessels that carries blood from all parts of the body back to the heart. This carry deoxygenated blood from the body parts to the heart. Veins have thin walls and blood flows at low pressure through the veins. Therefore, veins have valves in them which allows the blood to flow in only one direction and prevent the backflow of the blood in veins. Usually veins carry deoxygenated blood, but pulmonary vein, that is connected to the left atrium of the heart, carries oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. So over here veins carry deoxygenated blood from other parts of the body to the heart, and only pulmonary vein will carry oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. So this is the difference between arteries and veins, and this is how veins do the function of circulation. So now let us see which is the third type of vessel. The third type of vessel is the capillary. So these are extremely thin blood vessels that connects the arteries to the veins. This allows substance to pass from blood into the body cells and also from body cells into the blood, and the exchange of substances like food, oxygen, carbon dioxide between the blood and the body cells takes place through capillaries. So capillaries are basically for the division of the arteries and veins. So now we have seen the three types of vessels, that is arteries, veins and capillaries. Now let us move to the organ which helps in circulation, that is heart. So heart is an organ which beats continuously as a pump for the transport of blood carrying other substances with it. Through a network of tubes or blood vessels, the heart pumps blood throughout our life without stopping or relaxing. So heart helps in pumping the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, and that blood is then supplied to the different parts of our body through the veins or through the vessels such as veins, capillaries and arteries. So first let us see the structure of the heart. So this is the structure of a heart. Okay, so the heart consists of four chambers, that is the right atrium, the right ventricle, the left atrium and the left ventricle. So the heart is divided into four chambers: atrium and ventricle, that is right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium and left ventricle. Then it consists of a partition between the two chambers. Okay, there is partition between the two chambers. Then it consists of valves. These are the valves. Then there is vena cava. There is this aorta, pulmonary artery and pulmonary veins. So these are the main parts of the heart. So the heart consists of right atrium, right ventricle, left atrium, left ventricle, pulmonary artery, pulmonary vein, aorta, vena cava, and it is separated by a partition. The two chambers are separated by a partition so that the mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood is prevented. Okay, so now let us see how the circulation happens in heart, as in how the heart functions. So let us see the mechanism now of functioning of heart. So here now we have seen the structure. Now let us understand how the mechanism of circulation happens. The contraction of two atria is immediately followed by the contraction of two ventricles, which leads to continuous flow of blood in the human body. The mechanism of circulation can be summarized as follows. So these are the steps in the mechanism of circulation in heart. So the blood passes through the capillaries of the lungs and is mixed with oxygen. This oxygenated blood is then carried from the lungs to the left atrium by four pulmonary veins. So these are the pulmonary veins which will carry what? The oxygenated blood from the lungs to the heart. Okay. The left atrium contracts and the oxygenated blood is pushed into the left ventricle. So from here, from the pulmonary veins, so from the pulmonary veins, from the pulmonary veins, the oxygenated blood from the lungs enters into the left atrium, and from there it enters the left ventricle. The left ventricle pumps the blood into the biggest blood vessel of the body called the aorta. This distributes oxygen-rich blood to the different parts of the body. Okay, so now this blood, oxygenated blood, which from the left atrium, which is pumped into the left ventricle, will be transported into the aorta. Okay, and this aorta will supply this oxygenated blood to all the parts of the body. Okay, understood? The pulmonary veins will receive the oxygenated blood from the lungs. It will enter into the left atrium, that it will be pumped into the left ventricle. From the left ventricle it will be pumped into the aorta, which is the main vessel which will supply the blood to all the parts of the body. So this is how it is, the oxygenated blood is getting carried into the other parts of the body. Then the left ventricle pumps the blood. Okay, so it distributes oxygenated blood. Then the oxygenated blood is distributed through the capillaries. Okay, so the deoxygenated blood from various organs of the body will be supplied to the right atrium. Okay, so here this part, the right part, will receive the deoxygenated blood. The right atrium contracts and pushes the deoxygenated blood into the right ventricle through the open valves. Okay, the right ventricle pumps the impure blood into the pulmonary artery that carries it to the right and left lungs for purification. So here, through the vena cava, the left atrium receives what? Deoxygenated blood. From here it is then pumped to the, from the right atrium it is pumped to the left ventricle. Okay, from the left ventricle then it is pumped into the pulmonary artery. The pulmonary artery will then supply this blood to the lungs for purification. So here now the left ventricle pumps the blood into the pulmonary artery to carry it to the lungs for purification. Here the CO2 is released as a waste product from the lungs, and again the blood absorbs oxygen and becomes oxygenated, and the valve present on both the sides of the heart regulates the flow of the blood from one chamber to another. So this is how the circulation of blood between the oxygenated and the deoxygenated blood gets circulated from the heart to the lungs and from the lungs to the heart. And this is how the heart is helping in circulation. Yes. So in our today's class, what we have learned is how circulation takes place in human beings, that is through vessels. We have seen the three types of vessels: arteries, veins and capillaries. Then we have seen the structure of heart and how the mechanism of circulation is carried by the heart. So this was about what we have covered in our today's class. Thank you for watching today's video. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe.